Thank you so much for spending your Monday evening with me. I've created some cute slides for you guys. And if you want to know how I make my cute slides also, I can share with you guys later. Okay. All right. So thanks, Dave, for the lovely introduction. This is actually my second year, in IQI. I was previously from another agency, very small, and we focused on sub-sale properties that were targeted towards more high-end luxury products. We also were the exclusive agents for IRA residents that was just VP'd, I think last year or so. And so I started my first year in real estate selling property. The minimum size was 2,700 square feet with a per square foot price of 2,000 in Bukit Damansara. Did I see that as a challenge? Yes. Did I think that was extremely difficult and impossible? Also, yes. But with that experience, I think that it taught me to push through my challenges lah. And that's basically how I came up with being a digital realtor. All right. So my digital profile and what I focus on mostly are these 4 platforms. The ones that I memang have to book up every day is TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter. Meaning, however you guys check your phones in the morning, you guys maybe check your emails or check your leads generation, things like that. I check my TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter for comments, for views, to post. And so now it's become like a habit for me. All right. Was it difficult to cultivate the habit? Yes, but after a while it became easier. And it's very doable. So that's why the topic that I chose was a simple guide. Because for me, I think it was very simple. The difficult part is being consistent in doing what you're supposed to do every day, right? That's the most difficult part, I think, in any business. Even if you're doing calling, even if you're doing follow-ups, if you're not consistent, you're not going to see the results. So for me, at the moment, these are the statistics of my platforms that I study as well. So if a video is doing very well, I'll try to replicate those types of videos to see how I can get more reach, more followers. And so on TikTok, I have 19.8 thousand followers within 1 year. And you can see the difference between Instagram and Twitter, where it takes 3 years for me to get 10,000 on Instagram and 13 years to get 11.7 thousand on Twitter. Of course, I just started posting about property maybe when I first started real estate, so like 6 years ago. But it's worth the time that I put into lah, basically. All right. Telegram, I basically have a channel that I put whatever I post on Instagram and TikTok, I will put it on Telegram. And I've automated a lot of my content as well. I'll share that with you later. So from here, what I got was, like I think just now Dave was explaining, the sales that I got throughout 3 years in total that I calculated is 57 million. So this is when I started lah, 2019, 1st of May specifically. That's when I decided I have to do something. 1st of May, cuti, right? Like, okay, I have to do something. I need to find a way for people to constantly see my face. And I didn't think that Property Guru or Facebook was going to help me. So that's why I decided to start on Instagram. So I started with 0. A lot of people ask me, do you use your personal page? No, I started with a blank page, business profile. And then you start from there to build your own audience and get quality followers. I do not recommend buying pages with like 20,000 followers, 30,000 followers, because they won't be quality followers. You'll just have the number. All right. In terms of recruitment in IQI itself, as of today, 151. And I think active would be maybe 10 to 15% of that. And I think that's kind of I think that's normal, right? Like people come in and they decide.
Yeah, it's normal. Normally it's 20%.
Yeah,
15
10
to
to
20%.
15%. Yeah.
Cause all other team I see is about 15 to 20% also.
Oh, okay, great. I almost thought I was a loser. No lah. I mean, I understand that that's basically the challenge, right? Some more because they see me so much on Instagram, on Twitter, on TikTok, and they're like, wow, so nice. Lagi-lagi when you change car, right? You're like, wow, Natasha beli kereta, dapat subsidy from IQI, so it must be easy. And so they're like, I want to be like you. And then they come and they see the amount of work we do, and they're like, I cannot do it, right? So that's the challenges, but at least the recruitment I don't need to pay for, right? People just come and they inquire and we interview and so on and so forth. Aside from that, what came out of my many platforms is invitations to speak on big stages, right? Besides Bernama Awani and BFM, I also was a panel speaker for the Edge Property Market Outlook in 2019, just before the pandemic. And I shared this stage with Chris Tan, with Siva Shankar, so with all these big names. And so people look at you and they're like, wow, who are you? Every time they want to do something, they'll think of your name. And so besides this, brands also try to like get you to do live sessions on their profile. And so I get more and more leads from these sessions as well. All right. So for you guys, the first step is always starting. So starting, people are always like, I'm so scared to do this. It's not in my comfort zone. I hate it. It's like when you guys first started cold calling, it's not something that is comfortable to do. It's not something that you can automatically do daily unless you train yourself, right? So for me, the first step is to start. Just start and make your account and do it consistently. So the first one is Instagram. It is not as fast to build followers, but you have really quality leads there. The perception of Instagram before is the same as the perception of TikTok now. Oh, only kids are on Instagram, right? And now when TikTok comes up, you're like, oh, only kids dancing are on TikTok. And there's not really like an avenue for you. But it's really not true until you really try it out. Okay, so most of my sales actually come from Instagram. And so I do recommend that as one of the platforms to start. Secondly, of course, is TikTok. TikTok is fast growing and you can interlink your platform. So on TikTok, my link, once you have 1,000 followers and you're a business profile, I think you can put your link in your profile. And from there, I will probably put in my Excel sheet or my Instagram page or Twitter page, things like that. So people can reach you in many different platforms, all right? Twitter and Telegram, of course, are very slow, but the growth is slow, but the quality leads are there. Why? I was explaining to Dave earlier that the people who are on Twitter, for those of you who are not on Twitter, a lot of these people are actively they're constantly looking for things to read about and to share. So they're more, because it's more typing, right? So I would assume that these are people who like to read, as opposed to like Instagram, TikTok, very fast. The attention span is very short. TikTok, the videos that are shorter get the more views, right? But on Twitter, the threads, right? If you tweet something and you tweet something below, people are actually reading those. I'll give you an example later of what I did the day before yesterday and how I tried to get leads, free leads, right? And so I would say the people who engage with my Twitter are those who are a bit more, what's another word for educated, but like educated, like they like to read and they have all the information, more aware buyers as well. So that's really nice. And so these are the 3 platforms that I heavily concentrate on. The reason why I started TikTok this year is because I think there was one day that Meta was down. So that's Facebook, Instagram, right? And I got really scared that I will lose all my followers and basically like my rice bowl. And so I started TikTok so that if anything happens to these platforms, I have other platforms to rely on. So that's why I also created the Telegram channel and things like that. All right. So how I create my videos or how I started is actually I saw a problem, and the problem actually was me lah. I didn't know how to buy a house. I didn't know, as a 27-year-old, I was so pressured. Sorry, 26. I was so pressured. I was like, I need to have a property, but I have no idea what I don't know. And that's an issue that a lot of millennials and younger buyers have. They know, okay, I have to buy a house, and then they go to the show unit and you explain things like commercial with HDA, and they're like, HDA tu apa, right? Because you don't know what you don't know. So I realized that there needs to be someone or a website or page or something that people can fall back on when they are unsure, when they're buying. And you have to understand that buying a property is such a huge ticket item, right? And some people only buy one property in their lifetime, some maybe buy two. And so the first purchase is always the hardest, because it's like, oh, I'm just diving in, I don't know what the hell, right? So all home buyers have problems, and so you should talk about the solution that you can give them, and that shows that you are a negotiator or agent that cares about your buyers. And so that's how you differentiate yourself from other negotiators. Within IQI itself, we have like 30,000, like 40,000 agents. So how do you differentiate yourself from all the other people who are on Facebook, who are also doing ads and are also doing Instagram? How are you different from Mary Jo Condo? You know what I mean? So talk about it, post it, get trust, be different. And that's how I started basically my business model or my strategy. I'll explain more on how to expound on that later. All right. So number 2 is everything is so easy. It's at your fingertips and you can do it anytime and anywhere. When I first started talking about social media within the IQI community, I think a lot of people assume that I have really high-tech stuff and I'm at home editing videos, but I'm not. I just use my phone, and I didn't even have this phone before. I had like a really horrible phone. Thank you, IQI, for my new phone. I had this really old iPhone 7 that would lag when I post, but I still did it anyway. And so now that I have a better phone, it's much easier, right? So I never use computer or laptop. Everything is on my phone when I'm in between appointments or when I, just whenever. And it's something that you can do as well. So what I do is I cross post. So what does cross post means? Means I do one thing and I post it on the several platforms that I have. I edit it so it fits the layout of all the platforms that I have, so that I don't have to do it many times. For example, I go next first and I show you. So I edit my videos on CapCut, but it's not heavy editing. So basically, you imagine yourself telling a friend. Your friend asks you, Natasha, what's the difference between a commercial property and a commercial property under HDA? And so how you explain to your friend, you just put the phone in front of you or by the side or whatever, and you start explaining. So the only editing that I do is if I pause too long, like and then I singkatkan sikit. And another thing that I do is now that I've learned, I put in captions so that people who are on the train or are busy and they can't hear, didn't bring their earphones, they can read what I'm saying. Because I realize a lot of people prefer captions as well. So I will edit the captions lah. So one video probably takes me like an hour to 2 hours from recording, getting the idea, jotting down the ideas, recording to editing. And so I'll just do that. Or if I'm in my free time, I just record first and then I do the editing later. And so once you get that, I'll always do it in this size. And I take one and I cross post here. So you can see here, know your terms. This one I was talking about things like parcel accessory. Where does the car park fit in your layout plan when you're signing the SPA, things like that. People have never talked about it. So you talk about it, right? And so I post it. This is Instagram and this is on TikTok. And so you don't have to do so much work. You just have to work smart, basically. So I did this. I posted on Twitter as well, and just linked it back to the longer video. Because on Twitter, you cannot post more than 2 2.20 minutes. You can post 2.20 minutes, that's the maximum. Then I'll just put the link to wherever if you want to see the full video, basically. All right. So how I do it is I have an idea of what I want to do. I prepare a script, I record the video, and I edit the video on CapCut. It doesn't necessarily have to be on the same day. Sometimes I record a few things at once and then post it bi-weekly. And then I will post on Instagram, TikTok, Telegram, on your story, on your WhatsApp story, whatever platform that you can use, do it, right? Some of the platforms that I think have not been utilized are things like, surprisingly, Pinterest, which I've learned from a friend of mine who solely does her advertising for her writing classes. She advertises on Pinterest and earns quite a lot there. So every time people search for like property, house inspo, things like that, your name can pop up. So that's something that you guys can take a look at or try to explore. All right, so I edit, I cross post, and then of course you will have to have a sales and marketing plan. And this is basically what you need, right? So I said simple guide, right? So this is a very simple guide. So all you need is a phone that really captures clear photos and videos. If your videos are not clear, usually people don't really like watching because it's grainy, it doesn't look appealing. Everything that has to do with social media has to be aesthetically pleasing. It doesn't have to be like, whoa, 4K. No, it just has to be clear enough for people to see. If it's grainy, you can see that your video views are not as high if you compare side by side. Of course, set aside time to plan and to edit. You cannot just do it on a whim. I want to do it this month, and next month you don't do, or like this week I do, next week I do, and then after that you just don't do it. Try and have set aside time to do it, especially if you're just starting out. The editing apps that I use are CapCut and Canva. You are more than welcome to try out other platforms, but these are the ones that I use because they're very user-friendly. I don't have a background in IT or computer or whatever, by the way. My background is like biomolecular sciences. So these are all things that I learned as and when. And for me, they're very easy lah. Okay. And then of course is research, how to look out for trends and tips, because what I'm teaching you today won't necessarily help in the next 3 months or 4 months, right? Everything keeps changing. If you guys are familiar with Facebook, even Facebook algorithms continuously change, and you have to find a way to adapt. Okay, so these are basically all the tools that you need, and you can start straight away. Right? So in terms of post time, that's also very important. Once you start posting your content, you should also look at your audience section to see when and what time your followers are most active so that you can post, right? For example, I realize Mondays are very slow for my Instagram. So on Mondays, I'll just post like fun stuff. Like today, I just randomly posted that Dunkin' Donuts is having 50% off their coffees. So go get your 50% off coffee to start your week, right? Things like that. It doesn't have to be so professional all the time. My active timing would be Wednesday, Thursday. And so on Tuesday and Wednesday, I already start posting about properties, and I start pushing out the hard selling stuff. So like I'll talk about, let's say, for example, I focus on Damansara Central Park. I did some research on our landscape architect. So you talk about all the previous projects that Six Sun Design has done, and how beautiful is it? How aesthetically pleasing? How many people go to these parks and to these locations, right? And like Dave was saying, if it's Airbnb 500 a night, that's basically the same price of Six Sun's Sekeping series. Sekeping Serenda, Sekeping Tenggiri, Sekeping Kong Heng. All these locations are between 300 to like 600 ringgit, and they're constantly fully booked, right? So you take that and you compare, okay, when you have a 10-acre park and it's designed by this person who is the master of aesthetically pleasing locations, don't you think your value of your property will increase as well? Because so many people will want to live near where you live, right? And you compare that to places like Park City or Melbourne, where they have parks around. So these are the things that I will post in order to gain attention from my followers. And they're like, oh, okay, so it's not just, oh, it's 3 bedrooms, it's 2 bathrooms. Those are things that they can read. You add on the value to that. And you, at the end of my Insta stories, for example, I'll put a WhatsApp link there or a question box so that they can contact me directly for brochures. So basically, that's how I gain their attention, get their attention. I show them that, okay, other agents are not telling you all these things, but I'm telling you all these things, right? And I know more than everyone else. For example, so this is the image that I like to portray to my clients. But also you have to be knowledgeable lah. You cannot just say these things and not know all this, right? So posting time is different for each Instagram user. My followers may be different than your followers and vice versa. So that's why you have to constantly monitor as well. All right, so in terms of generating ideas, I know this is something that a lot of people struggle with. I'm just going to go through the list and I'll explain it, right? So number one, what I think of is think of the issues that clients face. It can also be issues that you have faced before. Like I was explaining just now, the reason why I started this was because I had so many issues. I didn't know what I didn't know. And so I started explaining to people about freehold and leasehold, how to renew lease, like the commercial with HDA residential thing, what are the different legal fees that you have to pay for, how to calculate DSR, what is DSR. So these are the issues, these are the questions that clients usually have, right? And the other things are the questions that clients ask. So if you guys have had debate sessions or brainstorming sessions, you will always try to discuss, okay, this client asked me this question, how do I counter? Even those are topics that you can use to share on your Instagram page. For example, the last time, I think, for example, okay, oh, my house is too close to the highway. This project is too close to the highway. How do you counter that and say that, oh, you know, it's too noisy, etc., etc. What's the answer to that? So you can explain in a video. If you prefer a unit that is away from the highway or doesn't have too much noise, you should choose the Exim products because they have 8.38 mm window thickness, things like that, for example, right? So before the client comes to the show unit, they've already seen all my videos and they're like, actually before this, I nak freehold je, tapi bila you dah explain leasehold pun okay. I've also done videos yang nothing to do with the properties that we sell. I did videos about like Rumah Whip and Rumah Sangoku, why they are not considered low cost or low quality properties. So things like that. It doesn't necessarily have to be hard selling videos. It's just, I know a lot. I'm a trusted agent. Come to me when you have a problem, right? So think of the obstacles that you faced when you arrive at the show unit and the client has seen everything and they're like, I nak balik, nak fikir dulu. I have to go back and talk to my wife. I have to go back and talk to her. So you make a video about maybe how prepared you have to be when you come to the show unit, or how fast selling different developers are, and what's the benefit of purchasing a property earlier, right? One that I did was I feel scared making a property purchase. Is that normal? And I explained what I felt when I was buying and things like that. So before they come, they already like, yeah, okay, I seen the video, I understand, right? Other than that, think of reasons clients don't want to buy. So it's high density. So what's the argument behind that? So you make a video about it, right? And so from all that, from one video, you can make a few for each issue, number one, and a few different styles. You can put it in a post. So you can put it in a Canva post, just something simple to read. You can put it in a short reel / TikTok, and you can just put a short story on your Insta story. So there are actually so many things that you can expound from one simple topic. The sixth, of course, is trends, what people usually do. It can be fun videos. That's why if you go to my Instagram, you can see me falling down don't know what nonsense doing. But it's so that I don't seem like I'm always hard selling. Like I'm fun too. kononnya lah, right? Number 7, of course, is current issues. So we are talking about things like, okay, the OPR has increased. What does that mean? So you do a layman video of that, how it affects buyers, how it affects future buyers, how it affects people who want to sell their property, you know, that alone, there's like 3 different topics that you can use. And then changes and updates in policies, like this year, I think we have, this year I think we have 50% off your your stamp duty for properties below 500,000, right? Residential title. So things like that. Or if you have, or HOC is going to be reintroduced faster, just fast do videos like that. It will definitely become something that is viewed a lot. And this is something that I follow from this TikTok user called Financial Faiz. He's a Malay guy who always talks about things related to finances, and he's extremely fast when it comes to these kind of issues. Well, of course, he has an editing team, etc. But it's not to say that we can't do it as well. We can, just not as nice and not as chantik, but it still gets the message across. And of course, the one that I prefer the most is to ask your audience. So once you have, let's say 100 followers, 50 followers, 100 followers, you can just ask them, what are things that you wish you knew when you wanted to buy property? Or what are the things that you don't know and you would like to know when it comes to property? And usually they'll come back with this list of things that they're keen on. And this helps because, like, for us, we are constantly talking about property. So sometimes to us, it seems like, takkan I want to talk about freehold leasehold again, but there will be people who have not heard about it yet, right? So you can either reshare a previous video, or you can do a video again explaining these things, right? There's no rules. You can just do whatever you want and see what works for you, right? So this is the best because then you know what's the quality of your followers as well. So for me, because now I'm kind of trying to strategize getting more Bumi buyers to buy Divine. So I talk a lot about rumah sangku. Why do we have such policies? Why does the developer choose to make 270,000 units in Damansara Perdana, right? And you talk about the policies that the government has implemented. So then people are like, oh, so actually, if there's no policies implemented, I will not have this chance to purchase this kind of property price, right? So you make people more aware of the gems that they are purchasing, right? So even talking about Hugo's earlier, that's also a topic that you can talk about, how Airbnb has boomed after MCO, and contrary to popular belief, that's definitely something that you can talk about. And then at the end, soft sell or hard sell. By the way, you know, we have a property in KLCC walking distance, right? So I wanted to give you guys an example of something that I did when I couldn't sleep on the 2nd of October, which is yesterday, right? So actually, day before yesterday lah, nak tidur. I tweeted about LPHS because I was scrolling LPHS. I was trying to see what other options clients have because I had a client who got Rumah Selangorku in Maya Ara, which is Ara Damansara, but he turned it down to purchase Divine. And so I was wondering, like, why did you decide to do that? Because the location is nice, the unit is bigger. And he said he just really liked the location of Damansara Perdana, but also going through LPHS is extremely difficult. There's no agent to help you. You have to wait for the ballots. You can't choose your units and things like that. So this is part of the thread, but I just wanted to share with you these 2 screenshots. And so I explained about one that I saw that is 42,000 in Bukit Ramaputra. I explained siap-siap lah, I tak jual, so you have to go to the LPH website and explain that it's a very leceh process, very difficult to go through. And so below that, because I knew this was going to gain traction, I put in my Excel sheet, which I have combined all the projects that me and my team sell. If they are keen on the project, they click on the WhatsApp link that I've attached, right? And of course, below that, I say I also have LPHS units as well. This is my WhatsApp link. I tulis je 550 square feet to room 1 bath, so I get the quality buyers, and they're not like, oh, ni kecil sangat, ni besar sangat, things like that. And because I target Bumi, of course, I say it's really nice because betul-betul depan masjid. And so some of my other tweets are like explaining trying to explain this kind of lifestyle to these boomy buyers, right? You walk 3 minutes, you get to the park, greenery, Seksan design, gorgeous. You walk right in front of your house, it's a masjid. During Puasa month, we always go for a traweh at night. That's something that a lot of Muslims really appreciate and look forward to. So just explaining to them like this kind of lifestyle is what you can achieve with 270,000, attracts these people to retweet and quote and like. And so this is quite a high view for tweets. And from this, I managed to get 24 leads. Out of the 24 leads, setting appointment should be maybe 2 or 3, and one who just wants to have a Zoom session with me straight away to block a unit. No need to see also, she said she really likes it. So this is without money, without this zero cost. This is not paid, this is nothing, and I've managed to get 76.3 thousand views. And this is a new feature, by the way. Twitter baru give you to see views, I think on 1st of October, if I'm not mistaken. Before this, you have to view tweet activity and see how many impressions you got, etc. So this is something that I do on and off, but of course you can see that it takes a lot of time crafting and replying to clients' messages and just explaining everything. But for me, it's worth my time and it's worth the sales stuff, basically, right? Yeah, so this is the example that I have. We also have team members with, of course, much lower follower counts who are doing this as well. And lately, my team have been doing Twitter ads. So Twitter ads is using USD. You can do, I think what is proposed is like 100 USD per day. And one of our team members managed to get, I think, 80 leads from that 100 USD. So many appointments. I don't know how many he closed, how many converted, but it's a huge number compared to advertising on Facebook or Instagram, right? So that's an avenue that we are trying to basically try to dominate lah, right? Because no one else is really on Twitter. Most of the agents on Twitter are boomy from different agencies that I see here and there. But yeah, we're trying to dominate the market there. All right. So you can plan your schedule, but I do recommend trial and error, because you cannot say, oh, I can only post on Monday and Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, tak banyak orang tengok, or, so you really have to focus on what you're doing. It's not just, oh, it's fun, social media, you have to post. You really have to look at your analytics, what's your traffic, etc. And so for me, on slower days, I give more fun videos, house tours. If I see something cute on TikTok, I'll download it and I'll share. And then on the more serious days or weekends, I do share on property lah, basically, right? If you do follow my Instagram, you can see that last weekend, I spoke about Sukuk, which is an investor in DCP, right? So what is Sukuk? Give them an idea of what are bonds, what does that mean for DCP in layman terms, extremely layman terms. So that's just an Insta story. I'm planning on doing a video on that as well. And then so at the end, I posted a lot about DCP, Divine, and even from that, I got a few leads inquiring about said property lah, basically. So it's all about strategy. It's all about like what you're posting and how you are posting, right? So in terms of projections, because you do everything online and everything is basically automated, this is what I went through lah, basically. So for my first month, I set up my pages and I got used to the habit of opening Instagram every day, buka, Telegram, Twitter, TikTok, right? Every time you start, you have to familiarize yourself and say, okay, I have to check my TikTok, I have to check my Twitter, etc. And after 1 year, so after 2019, there's more practice, there's consistency. I already saw a lot of change. From the first year, you won't believe, I only had like 500 followers, but the followers were really quality, and I had a good stream of leads, basically. So within 3 years, my plan is to basically just make money while I'm eating, or, you know, just while I'm talking to you guys, leads are coming in and things like that. This is part of what I'm currently doing. I have an Excel sheet that I just share all the time. People can look, and it's quite detailed. I can share this with you shortly. And if they're keen, they just click on the WhatsApp, and it goes directly to my team members who handle specific projects. So let's say my colleague is Hannah, and Hannah does some project that I don't do. For example, I don't do tapak, right? I put a link there. It says, hi, I came from Marijuana Condo. Can I know more about this? And so I immediately have like a 40% leads income from that. And then they get leads that are quality to call and follow up, basically, right? So this is my plan this is what I've been doing currently. And of course, in 10 years, I really hope that everything that I'm doing now is smoother. Probably we'll have an editing team or something like that. But basically, I want to be a master of digital real estate. And people are like, oh, property and anything about property, I must go to marriage or condo. Because of course, in 10 years time, people who are currently 18 or 19, or actually younger than that, people who are in middle school, right, are going to buy properties, and they're on TikTok already now. So I'm building my brand from now, thinking about 10 years in the future as well. I may not be the one handling all this. I'll probably be a boss like Dave, you know, telling my team to close all the deals. But of course, the brand name has to start from somewhere, right? So these are my projections. You can this is mapped out so that you can see this is something that I've done without experience, and so this is something you can do as well.